The notion that language shapes thought and the thought patterns is commonly referred to as the Wharf hypothesis, although it is also called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis to acknowledge the role of Whorf's mentor. The long-held view that all cognitive processes of the human being actually they share or possess common logical structures that operates prior to or independently of communication that is done through languages is proved false. The famous hypothesis, which is known as Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, was something which got popularity in 1940s, gave a different dimension to the understanding of language in relation to thought. According to them, language determines thought, and that they proposed with the help of language determinism. And another one which was proposed by Whorf, who was a student of Sapir, he proposed the concept of linguistic relativity, which means that people who speak different language also think differently. So the concept of different thinking and with regard to the use of different languages were also introduced through this hypothesis, which is Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Now, this hypothesis has been a subject of a lot of controversy, and people have looked at this hypothesis where the two versions have been introduced. The first one has been considered as the strongest version, which is that language determines thought. And the second version has been considered as the weak version, which has been focusing on the relativity of the language, or you can say linguistic relativity. Now we will look at this hypothesis where we can see that what actually they mean by language determinism and linguistic relativity. So we have seen that although Edward Sapir was the mentor of Benjamin Whorf, but their hypothesis has been considered as a kind of one hypothesis where you have the linguistic determinism and linguistic relativity. Now, it is Whorf's view that the linguistic patterns themselves determine what the language or what the individual perceives in this world, and how he perceives or how he thinks about it. So when we are talking about linguistic pattern, that means the complete language or the type of language that is used by the speaker. So that determines how people perceive and how people looks at the world around them. Principle of relativity is a new principle which holds that all observers are not led by the same physical evidence to the same picture of the universe unless their linguistic backgrounds are similar. So we sort of, according to Whorf, cut up and organize the spread and flow of events as we do largely because, though our mother tongue, we are parts of an agreement to do so, not because nature itself is segmented in exactly what the way for all of us to see. So the idea is not that the universality, the concept is not about the universality, it's rather the relativism that is the point explained here. And further, they move on to give the example that in the Indo-European languages, substantives, adjectives, and verbs appear as basic grammatic units, a sentence being essentially a combination of these parts. This scheme of persisting entity, separable from its properties, and active or passive behavior is fundamental for the categories of accidental thinking. Then we have Indian languages such as Nootka or Hopi. They do not have parts of speech or separate subject and predicate. Rather, they signify an event as a whole. When we say a light flashed or it flashed, Hopi uses a single term flash. Indo-European language emphasize time. The give and take between language and culture lead, according to Wharf, to keeping of diaries, mathematics stimulated by counting, to calendars, clocks, time as used in physics, for example, to the historical attitudes, interest in the past, archaeology, etc. It is interesting to compare this with the Splenger's conception of the central role of time is the Occidental world picture, which from a different viewpoint comes to the identical conclusion. Then we have self-evident distinction between past, present and future, which does not exist in the Hopi language. So based on these examples, they have tried to focus on the fact that the concept of universality does not exist and that people have different way of looking at events, or you can say a world around them, and their language basically determines it and also expresses the way they express their particular situations as per their particular societies. Hence, the Wharf hypothesis states that our language shapes the way we think about the world around us.